I want to get your initial thoughts on just kind of, because I'm sure we're both all over, everyone here's all over it. What are your initial thoughts of the cancer diagnosis and, conveniently 2 days before Tell All book comes out? I'll go to Luke and then Hannah Claire.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that this has been in the works and this has been known for quite a long time. There's a lot of medical professionals coming out saying something like this to metastasize towards stage 4 could have been 5 to 10 years. And it makes sense since Joe Biden was literally saying, I have cancer.
That was in 22.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah. 3 years ago, the guy's like, I got cancer.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, maybe when he was saying that, he was telling the truth here. A lot of this now kind of makes sense with a lot of the kind of weird medical stuff that was happening to him, the kind of IV lines that he had here. He was probably trying a lot of kind of alternative treatment.
Did have some skin cancer. That is what they did. They did admit that, but I don't think that's what he was talking about either.
No.
Yeah.
I think we saw the kind of, writing on the wall here. I think Laura Loomer is definitely vindicated throughout all of it.
She was right. Mm-hmm.
She was right. And a lot of people were saying, no way. And it looked like he was having a lot of multiple medical emergencies. I think we need to subpoena the White House doctor immediately. We need to find out what was going on here. How long did they know? Because there are some bigger implications here. And a lot of people are saying this, Biden could pass away at any moment, any time now. And the timeline.
I've seen stage 4 and stage 5. Is it which is it? Is it either
Stage
way?
4,
I mean, his whatever that like cancer
I know
number
that
go ahead.
it's aggressive enough where it's in the bone, and once it reaches the bone, it's not curable. They can treat it, they can manage it. Some people live with this type of cancer, from what I understand, for many years, but it can become more aggressive. And so they're basically going to put him on treatment to suppress testosterone so that it doesn't become worse. And I think that's kind of interesting. There was that controversy over Easter where his family put out that picture. They're all sitting on the steps, and
It was
Joe
photoshopped
Biden is kind of clearly photoshopped in. It makes me wonder if, and I think Luke is right on this, that this has been going on for a long time, but it has taken a decline. And so therefore they're trying to slow but quickly roll it out. I mean, and I don't fault the Biden family for this. Apparently, when his son Beau had brain cancer, they tried to keep it kind of quiet and not talk about how serious it was. Yeah. And I think effectively they might be doing the same thing here. It's possible because, everyone is acknowledging on some level, all the mainstream media that claim to love Joe Biden, that he's not coming back from this. With this type of cancer, it's manageable, but no one is expecting him to fully recover. It doesn't seem like that's possible.
Well, by the way, shout out Scott Adams had said he's set to pass away this summer from the same type of cancer.
Sad.
Yeah.
Scott Adams is just such a unique person. And he won't get the same kind of attention that Biden does, but he deserves it.
Yeah, he does look pretty sickly. But
if he's set to pass away this summer, I mean, imagine what Biden looks like. Because when was the last time we saw Biden publicly?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they said
coherently usher a statement.
Yeah, they put out a picture, but we don't know when that picture was even taken. Let's go back the other way with Hannah Claire and then Luke. What do you make of the idea that this guy let's just forget that when he was in government for 40 years. He was president for 4 years. Subject to almost certainly the most rigorous medical testing. What are the odds that they didn't know about this?
I think they knew about it, and that was one of the reasons that he always went back to Delaware. One of the things that bothered me a lot about the Biden administration was that they would just constantly delay when they would release his annual physical. It never was just punctual. It comes in October and that's that. They always sort of would start getting questions about it and dodge it for a little while, and then they would slow roll it. I remember because I used to write about them because it's a significant update. You would go to the White House website for the press links or whatever, and most of the time they put the statement just directly on the website. You can read it, you can whatever, take screenshots. And this one, you'd have to click a link that would lead you to a PDF to the letter from the doctor. And it was almost like they just wanted to be that much more difficult to get to, even though ultimately the doctor always said oh yeah, he's fine, everything's okay. I remember one year he specifically mentioned Biden starting to have a little bit of a gait, which he said, oh, well, that's normal for a man of his age. But at the time, people were all over the, like, is it called the Alzheimer gait? Like, where there's a little bit of stiffness and movement.
That could just
and
be old guy stuff too, you know, like,
Right.
you know, you're not exactly as spry, you know.
Right. And I, like, again, I wish I could dig up all these things. I probably could find them. But I bet there were more signs than we realized. I just think that you know, I think Jake Tapper is kind of a scoundrel for writing this book that's about to come out, saying, oh, well, it was known and everyone covered up, because he has been such a member of the mainstream media.
Yeah, everyone covered up. You mean you?
Like, way to scurry off the ship like a rat before it sinks here, team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at MSNBC, specifically Scarborough, coming out, best health of his life. I mean, all those people. And then they're like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist if you believe Joe Biden isn't in the best health of his life right now, as he was literally fawning, falling, and stuttering over his words. I mean, it was pretty clear. But for people to be labeled fake news, to be fact-checked by Facebook fact checkers and all these other censorious type of dystopian autocrats that are coming out and saying, no, don't believe the evidence in front of your own ears and eyes.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Was the most kind of insulting part of this all, since, again, the conspiracy theorists were right. Because if you compare, you know, Donald Trump's pretty old too, right? But if you compare his cognitive kind of abilities, Donald Trump's doing press conferences at 2:00 in the morning, flying back from UFC events, right?
I've never seen him get lost while walking into the White House. I mean, Joe Biden did that how many times? They'd have to send Secret Service after him to redirect him.
Yeah, but we did see like Donald Trump fall asleep a little bit in Saudi Arabia, but of course that's a big time difference. We're talking about him flying halfway around the world, but it's nothing compared to what was going on with Joe Biden. That clearly wasn't just cognitively, you know, dysfunctional, but also was dealing with, you know, a physical ailment, and it was pretty clear he was. And it was adding to the long list of problems that he was already facing and dealing with. I think that the kind of emphasis that a lot of people are having from this particular story was just how ruthless and evil Dr. Jill Biden was.
Yeah.
Still pushing him to run, still fighting everyone, still demanding that he have 4 more years. I mean, imagine the scenario and the situation if she got her way, right? Like, imagine if he was still the president of the United States. Oh, he has terminal prostate cancer.
I think it wasn't just her though. Like, I bet in lucid moments when he had them, Biden was also like, I deserve to run. I should keep going. Because I think that desire for power runs deep and it doesn't go away easily. Like, she should have been the voice of reason if she's the healthier spouse. But I don't think Biden, no matter what, would have gone quietly.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's not just Biden too. I mean, what do you make of, you know, how many people knew, you know, and like how many of these people, you know, kept him as a empty husk. Like, who's running the freaking autopen during all this?
Well, do you think that anything about Joe Biden's health had to do with when Jen Psaki left as White House spokesperson? Like, she was the press secretary, and about 2 years in, she was like, bye, I'm going to mainstream media, which if you thought it was a really successful, growing administration, I mean, everyone's allowed to do what they want, but like, why wouldn't you stay if you were that committed to the president? Instead, she sort of took this out. And sometimes looking back, I've wondered if she was being basically read into how bad the health situation was and was like, I'm not going down with this ship.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue against that. I mean, I just wonder.
Speculation on my part, but.
Well, how many of these people knew? You know, like how many of these people knew? I don't understand.
I think all of them within his inner circle. I mean, there was no other way to excuse his behavior other than the guy's terminally ill.
Or declining rapidly. I mean, he really was. It just seemed like every year of his presidency, it got worse. And that's not even trying to be cruel or mean, right? Like, I have a lot of objections to Biden and decisions he's made and to his administration. But just if you watched interviews, if you watched speeches, like it really seemed to not be going well. And everyone definitely in his inner circle, but also the support staff surrounding him just kept being like, no, you guys are crazy for even questioning it. You know, like the fact that you weren't even allowed to be like, hey, he doesn't seem so good today.
Yeah.
that was some sort of like threat. Like that is so bizarre to me. And now the media is promoting Jake Tapper's book as if like, oh yes, like we're glad that he's doing this good work by exposing this thing that somebody, we won't say who, kept quiet, as if they weren't complicit.
Yeah, that does seem, it seems to me like, do you think we're going to get any like, I mean, are we going to get any investigation here? Any trial, anything like that?
Well, it's not going to be good optics now. It's like Donald Trump picking on poor elderly dying man. So I think my conspiracy mind automatically goes to, there's probably something down the pipeline, because we saw Trump saying, hey, this auto pen controversy is a little bit more important. There was a person that was set to investigate it within the DOJ. And I think there was something big headed down the pipeline. And I think this could have been done as a way to usurp and stop any kind of legitimate action being taken against Joe Biden, who, by the way, didn't pardon himself, right? So you could go after Joe Biden, and Joe Biden went after Donald Trump. Joe Biden had the FBI go through Melania Trump's panty drawer, right? Donald Trump hasn't forgotten that, all right? So a lot of people are saying Donald Trump should do the same to Joe Biden. He can't really do that now because of the optics.
Yeah, it's hard to put the old man who's former president, who it has essentially terminal cancer. There's some people aren't using that language, but if there's no cure, up on trial and then come off seeming like the good guy, which is sort of unfair because it just seems like, Joe Biden is going to get this heroic swan song that maybe he doesn't deserve. And again, like I have empathy for people whose loved ones are suffering with cancer, but in this case, like he's going to be able to not answer for any of the crimes that he committed against the American people effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And there's a lot of those crimes. And, a lot of people are saying, well, maybe this is not the best time to bring it up, but it is a weird issue. It's like, where do you draw the line when it comes to honestly kind of talking about a person and then also having sympathy for just a horrible situation that a lot of us face, and a lot of us will be facing later in our lives too. That's tragic and very horrible, and just shows you just how gentle and soft the human life is.
I don't know how much of mainstream coverage you guys have watched of this issue, but NBC News, when I was watching them interview, a health professional about the prognosis and treatments and stuff like that, one of the things that they kept saying, and I noticed a couple of other news outlets during this year, like, well, the former president will have access to, top healthcare, and he'll have access to great treatments, and it's just acknowledging that he's like wealthy and privileged in a way that a lot of Americans aren't. I guess he has the right to do that. On the other hand, it is kind of sad because it's like this backhand way of acknowledging that there are so many people who would be in a similar situation who wouldn't have the resources that he does.
Exactly.